Family, familia, what's up? What's good? Um, don't know exactly what I want to say in this video. Yeah, today is a day where I'm feeling some humility. I'm really feeling my humanity, really um, feeling my heart and feeling the darkness that is often present in this human experience, and just really feeling and acknowledging that, I am a wounded, heartbroken man with a wounded inner child, um, a crying inner baby boy, just looking for love and attention from his mother. And yeah, I am a ragtag, ramshackle, patchwork character with plenty of foibles and idiosyncrasies and warts and scabs and scars and demons. And and this world can sometimes really seem like a fucking hell realm, can it? Like, man, just some of the shit that goes down in this world, some of the corruption, some of the violence, the abuse, the rape, the war, the human trafficking, the terrorism. I just heard a story that is just unconscionable, unthinkable about a man in France who for years was slipping something in his wife's beverages to knock her out, and then allowing other men from around the area to rape her. And apparently, some 50 men raped her over the course of years. And this guy got discovered kind of by accident because he was taking a photo up some other woman's skirt, and someone noticed that, and the police like took his phone or laptop and they found footage. He had filmed all these rapes of his wife. And when I hear shit like that, I mean, probably can't even really say aloud what it makes me want to do, because the algorithm would probably flag it or something. It makes me want to become fucking Batman and inflict vigilante justice on fucking scumbags like that. I mean, it's unthinkable. It's just like, what kind of fucking hideous monstrosity lurks beneath the surface of so-called civilization? We call ourselves civilized, and it's a big fucking crock of shit. Big fucking crock of shit. Just hideous levels of demonic behavior. And there's tons of that out there. As far as we know, as far as we can tell, as far as things seem. And yeah, how do you reckon with that? How do you deal with that? How do you cope with being a human being and knowing on some level that you're one of the monsters? That, as far as I can tell, there's no potentiality in anybody else that's not also in me. I've met myself as an angel, I've met myself as a demon, I've met myself as a god, I've met myself as a worm. I've met myself as a man, as a woman, as you know, infinite dimensional aspects of experience, countless archetypes and shades and flavors, and it's all in us. It's all in us, you know? And so how do we reckon with that? How do we reckon with that? You know, it's so easy to just project it all outwards and say, you know, there's just these evil people out there, and if we could just kill these evil people, the world would be rid of evil. But, you know, as Alexander Solzhenitsyn put it, the line dividing good and evil runs through the heart of every human being, and who is willing to destroy a part of his own self. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but how do we reckon with that? You know, it's it's a profound question, and I don't think the answer is just to purely go to the absolute, go to the emptiness, just notice that there's just this instantaneous flash of nowness, this flash of presence, and it's infinite, it's unpin downable. We can't say anything about it, and so voila, bada bing, bada boom. Just stop creating a solid world out there, bro, and just melt into the nowness. You know, I bring that up because I've been talking about that subject a lot lately. The subject of non-dual awakening, the subject of emptiness, the subject of Peter Brown's yoga of radiant presence, and just noticing that everything fundamentally consists of this radiant presence right here and now. And I'm not I'm not denying that. Yeah, I can still feel the truth of that. And yet I don't think just engaging in yoga and just going to the empty fullness is always is always the answer. I do think that, you know, maybe for some people that's always the answer, but it feels like for me that's not always the answer. Um, because I'm very human. I'm very human. I'm here. I'm here, you know. My humanity is fully included. I feel like any awakening that tries to exclude or dismiss humanity, it feels like it's missing something crucial to me. So I'm here. I want you to know that I'm in my heart and I feel the pain of this world. I don't always feel it in the same way. You know, I oscillate like I'm sure all of us do. We all have our ways of kind of numbing out, sealing ourselves off from the pain, closing the heart. And I think that's very natural. It's very natural to develop strategies to protect ourselves from the pain of this world because, man, it breaks people. It breaks people, man. Like, fuck, it's it's heavy out here. Like, I got I got friends who are pretty broken. Like, uh, that's not to say they're intrinsically broken. Like, nothing is actually wrong with you. You're you're perfect just how you are. I really feel that. I really believe that. You're not broken. You're whole. And yet I got friends who feel broken. You know, it seems like those uh, COVID years really did a number on people a few years ago, and some people haven't really recovered from that. The whole thing was a giant mind fuck, and the internet just driving people crazy at this point. You got people doing too many psychedelics, to be honest with you. Like that's something that I see people in my communities struggling with, or at least that's my assessment of what has happened to them. They've they've taken too many psychedelics and they combined that with going down too many paranoid, ominous reality tunnels. And basically, through that, they drove themselves into a kind of paranoid, borderline psychosis, or they became ungrounded and got kind of stuck in some kind of ominous reality tunnel, some kind of concretized spiritual story about spiritual warfare. And it's not to deny the existence of spiritual warfare, but really, yeah, any any story that you overly grasp onto and you overly concretize and solidify and you make that a big part of your identity, your belief system, that's going to become the house that you live in a certain way. So we got to be pretty damn careful about which stories we're really allowing to become the fundamental stories that we tell ourselves and the fundamental stories that we leave our home with, our home. Are you building a sanctuary with the stories you tell yourself? Are you building a cathedral? Or are you building like a dark basement where you're trapped? Are you building a torture chamber? Because, you know, even if you discover a high degree of non-dual recognition or something, your psyche's still going to have stories in it. Your psyche's still going to have foundational stories. That's just how we operate, y'all. That's what we are. We're mythic creatures. Humans are incredibly mythic. And what are the mythologies and the archetypes that are most profoundly programming your subconscious? That is, in a profound sense, how you are magically um, co-creating and co-shaping your reality, whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. So the music you listen to, the signals you're taking in, the stories that you really latch onto, that you really believe in and concretize within yourself, that is either building you an inner cathedral, an inner sanctuary, or it's building you a confining, labyrinthine torture chamber where you feel trapped. So we got to be careful about that. So, anywho, just I'm just kind of ventilating. I'm just kind of rambling. My heart goes out to everybody. Like I'm here with y'all. I'm here with us. My heart goes out because fam, it's tough times. Yeah, it's tough times to be here. It's this Earth realm, you know, near as I can tell, based on my many entheogenic adventures, ayahuasca adventures. This Earth realm is one of many realms and dimensions and possibilities for what radiant presence can look like. I mean, it can look like anything. It can look like anything. And right now, radiant presence, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, words can't touch it, but whatever this is that we're all experiencing, that we're all tapping into, that we all fundamentally are, at least for those of us here on Earth, that consciousness is, currently playing this game of Earth during a moment of large transition on the planet. And, it sure as heck don't seem like a game to a lot of people a lot of the time. Doesn't. Um, And, I think it's important for me at least to let myself feel that. Like that's the purpose of pain for me. When I feel that pain, when I feel that heartbreak, when I feel that sorrow for this world, and when I not only feel the sorrow of the women that are tortured by men like that sick French fuck that I mentioned earlier. But when I also feel the sorrow of that man, when I feel how fucking broken and destitute, how much of a fucking shell of a human being you have to be, how broken, how destroyed, how how deserted do you have to feel? How much do you have to feel like you are literally living in a torture chamber to inflict that type of torture on someone else? We don't often think about that. We just want to say that these people are just sickos, they're just evil, but we don't think about their pain, and it's terrifying to consider how goddamn desecrated a person's inner world must be for them to desecrate another living being in that fashion. The fact that human beings are out here killing so many of these innocent animals, innocent baby animals, like we're killing calves and lambs just for meat, just because the meat tastes a certain way from the younger animals. Like they're just taking their first steps into this world. And we're just mowing them down just to try to make a slightly more delicious meal. Like how fucking heartless are we out here? How heartless are we? And how heartless am I to be complicit in that by continuing to eat a certain amount of meat, even though I freaking love animals. I absolutely love animals. And I sure as heck couldn't kill a baby animal. You know, could probably barely do that if I was starving to death. Maybe not even then. And yet I go to the fucking donor shop in Germany and I order a donor sandwich with fries and I stuff my face because it's just delicious. And that's the only reason. Just out of pure gastronomic succulence. And that's after how many years of inner work and self-examination. I just engage in carnal, hedonistic, bestial pleasure and prioritize that over, you know, just non-participation in the mass murder and enslavement of animals. I mean, the way we're treating these animals on this planet is horrifying. It's horrifying. It breaks my heart, and I'm literally scared to watch some of these documentaries because I've seen glimpses, I've seen clips, and I know how horrible it is, and I'm scared to watch more of it because part of me is hiding from just how terrible it is. It's an inconvenient truth. Part of me just wants to keep eating my doner kebabs and eating my cheeseburgers and not know that these animals are being tortured. So yeah, what do you do? What do you do? How do you? What do you do? You know, one nice thing that I can say is that I don't know about nice, but one thing I can say is that I think I used to feel like it wasn't okay to feel these things. Like my spiritual journey was supposed to lead beyond pain, and therefore, if I'm feeling the pain of the world and I'm feeling like a human being and I'm just feeling like a broken human being who's part of a monstrous species and kind of ashamed of being part of this goddamn species, sometimes feels like a god-forsaken demonic race of fucking monsters. I think I used to feel like it wasn't okay to feel that. Like The goal was to become enlightened so that that wouldn't be there anymore, so that it would just be permanent Satchitananda, being consciousness bliss. And I'm happy to say that I feel like that uh, confused interpretation of the spiritual path has mostly evaporated because, yeah, what I've come to see over time is just that it is all fully included. It is all fully included. Every experience is fully valid, and no experience is truly more enlightened than another experience. No experience is truly more awakened or more ascended than another experience because all of this, all of this, every single experience is nothing other than the activity, the spontaneous incarnate display of God, radiant presence, whatever you want to call it, this one loving intelligence that sometimes sure doesn't seem loving. I know it's it might be upsetting to people that I even call it a loving intelligence because it can seem like the biggest paradox. It's like, how can you say that whatever is making this world, whatever is showing up as this world with all these broken beings fucking each other over and killing each other, raping each other, how can you say that that is somehow a loving intelligence? And I don't know if I can explain that, I don't know if it would even be helpful to try to explain that in this moment. It's a mystery. It might be the single greatest obstacle on the spiritual path to be overcome, to actually have faith and devotion and conviction that there is a higher loving power worth striving toward and worth knowing, and that even in this broken world, that is the case. It's in a way, it's like the ultimate test of faith to be in a realm like this, to be in a world like this, in a plane of such density, and to maintain a sense of faith and to look for the light in the darkest place, to look for the light in the darkest place and to try to be a light in that place, to try to be a candle in the dark. That requires heart, that requires bravery, that requires being a true uh, warrior of the heart, a warrior of peace. And ain't always easy. Sure as heck ain't easy, and I sure as heck am far from perfect at it. I sure as heck am, again, a dilapidated nematode of a human being in many ways. I mean, I'm just another Dostoevsky character, just another David Foster Wallace character, just doing his thing out here, doing the best I can. And and it's not always easy. Sometimes it's really hard, and I don't know how to, I see myself looking for how to tie a neat bow on this video. I gotta I gotta go. I gotta run in a few minutes here. So I'm like, okay, I need to end this video. How can I tie a bow on this, give these people a positive message that they can hang their hats on. Um, well, I guess my hope is just that by sharing the realness of my human heart and by sharing my human pain, that there's a medicine in that. A lot of what we do in men's work is just sharing our human hearts honestly and sharing our pain. And we find that there is a medicine in that when we just witness each other with loving presence, when we listen from the heart, when we speak from the heart. There's a medicine in that. Gradually unfreezes our hearts and heals our inner children and turns the inner desert into an inner garden so that we become less and less likely to be the type of humans who commit monstrous deeds. We learn to love our inner shadows and inner monsters and find that when we hold them in unconditional love, they can transfigure, they can be reborn in their original luminous form. Because it really is the least among us and the least within us who are most in need of our unconditional love. The ones we want to cast aside and say, fuck you, you sick fuck. That's the one who most needs our unconditional love. Like Christ said, what you do to the least among you, this you also do to me. What you do for them, you also do for me. So, that's some of the hardest work any of us will ever face. But, you know, that's what that's what this earthly realm is. It's an incredible test of faith and unconditional love. Um, can you have faith and bring love the desert, into the desert? And hmm, yeah, you know, again, it's all included. All your feelings are valid. It's completely okay to be a broken human being. You're not actually broken. You're whole within yourself, but it's okay to feel broken. It's okay to feel, you know, damaged. It's okay to feel like this world is too much. They're very, very relatable feelings. Very relatable feelings. And you know, just give yourself a break from it. If it seems like too much, just let yourself rest. Just if you can, just try to return to the breath, return to the simplicity of just now. Just notice that now is usually pretty chill. So much of this stuff isn't even in our direct experience. We hear about it on the internet. We assume that it's out there somewhere. And yet a lot of it isn't in our direct immediate experience. And so it can be, if it feels like too much, the thing to do in my eyes is to return to that simplicity of direct immediate experience. Return to the simplicity of now. Notice that this now moment is all that you ever really have to deal with. And just rest. Just let yourself rest. Let yourself rest as the simplicity of now. Let go of the complexity. Let go of projecting a vast external world of troubles and just come back to the cozy heart. Come back to the simplicity of now and just let yourself rest. It's always okay to do that. You deserve it. You deserve it. So let yourself rest and keep the faith. Keep the faith, my friends. Just, you know, I know I've said a lot here, and yet in my heart, the faith, the faith remains strong. The faith remains strong. And the seeing, the feeling, the knowing of a love that is a mystery of love that's beyond any and all descriptions, any and all fathomings. A love that does work in mysterious ways that really challenge us and really test us. But that love is there. That love is there. So Let yourself feel that love. Let yourself rest. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being in this world. You're brave for being here. Thank you. I love you. I wish you peace. God bless you, my friend. God bless you. Take good care. Peace and love.